So then around the same time, I'm pretty sure in the same list of messages, he mentioned something that became another lesson for me, but I had actually been doing this one quite well, and it was about debt. My father told me to never get into debt. I remember one day we were in his car, he was dropping me off, and I kind of knew it, but he was kind of explaining what debt was like in terms of having to, like, you know, live the lifestyle to pay it off. And he said, it's very tricky because once you have it and you need to pay a certain amount per month, it means you need to work a certain amount per month, which then means that you don't have like the time, the energy and the mental capacity to set up something better for the long term. You become stuck just working for the short term. And it's a very vicious cycle. You know, the way that I was able to build this business and to have such high leverage and to be able to, like, make so much money is because I was able to sacrifice the short term for the long term gain. But with debt, when you have a monthly bill of hundreds of dollars, hundreds or $1,000, you know, with your mortgage, and everyone my age seems to have a car in debt. People don't realize it. It's just like a normal thing to get your car on finance. It's just, that's completely normal, and it's blown my mind that like everyone seems to do that my age, and they all proudly, like I've had like friends proudly show me their cars, like, yeah, this is my car, and it's on finance. They're like, yeah, it's only like 250 quid a month. But it's, one, it's not your car, and two, like, you're in debt for it. And maybe it works, you know, I've not looked into the logistics. Maybe it works out. Maybe it's a 0% APR loan. And so the lending company gets absolutely nothing by giving it to you on finance. Maybe it's a 0% loan, but it's probably not. You're probably paying extra. It's like poor person tax. You get a car on debt because you can't afford to buy the car outright. Which you might think, oh, but who's going to buy the car outright? It'd be too expensive. No. It'd be too expensive if you got a car or a home or whatever it is that you didn't deserve. Young, like kids these days, like 18, 25-year-old guys these days are getting cars that they don't deserve. And they can't afford the car, and that's why they need to break it down into like monthly payments or something. Why not just buy the car that you actually deserve? And if you can't, you know, if a decent car is what, like $5,000 or something, and you don't have £5,000 in your bank account, well, maybe don't buy one then. Maybe wait, or maybe buy a car that you actually are on the level of. Maybe you've got £700 and you can get an absolute piece of shit car. Well, maybe that's the one that you deserve to buy. And this hurts a lot of guys' feelings, and there's a lot of guys who are tuning out now because, you know, they're feeling a level of being targeted. And if you're feeling that right now, just know that I say this like with love, because this is like, I'm not against you here. I'm against the system, and you should be too, of this pressure that we have that like, yo, yeah, look, we've got to get this car that symbolizes our status and our level, because if we don't, and we get the car that we can actually afford to buy without putting ourselves in debt, we're going to feel worse. Why would we feel worse? Because we'll symbolize to everyone where our real level of status is, where our real like ego is. And so that's why we put ourselves into debt today, and we sacrifice some long term just so we can benefit in the short term, and essentially just attract people right now. I'm 25 years old. I don't have a car. If I absolutely need one, bro, I'm going to get one that like isn't incredibly fancy, honestly. And trust me, like I could genuinely buy, like, I'm pretty sure I could afford a supercar, honestly, like, and not on debt. Genuinely, I've got 80k like right now. I could go spend it right now. And think about how cool I'd be if I drive around, and think about like all the people who would recognize me from how, bro, who gives a fuck? I've realized, at least with these things, that comes from a lack of something inside of you. This need for this external validation, it will drive you to the ground. It absolutely will. And now, it is normal to have that. It is normal to be externally validated by the people in your tribe. But make sure you don't just sacrifice your long-term growth for it. So, for example, like I'm very externally motivated for my physique, right? When I was 17 years old, I thought to myself, if I build like a really lean, muscular, athletic physique, people will respect me, girls will be attracted to me. That's all external, and people say that's shallow. But the thing is, it actually was really good for me. It just meant that it got me in the gym. It got me eating cleaner. It was literally just a win-win. It got me literally eating cleaner, but also got me the respect of guys, and also got me the attraction of girls. And, you know, it got me like physically fit and everything. Got me on a really beautiful journey where I learned about discipline. It was a win-win everywhere. There was no debt that I went into for that, and I still got to get like the validation from other people from it. but doing it with something that genuinely means that your long-term life is going to be sacrificed because now you've got a car that you shouldn't be able to afford and you've got to pay $500 a month, whatever the debt's going to be in. And some people take out like short-term loans. So my dad said this to me whilst that, my girlfriend, like at the time, she's my ex, right? I'm living with her, and she and her family, they were very bad with money. She was in like weird levels of debt. So the girl that I was dating, like I had never considered this before, right? It's just so weird, right? She would keep mentioning like these random websites that, I saw this table on there and there, right? And she just like essentially, her and her mum would like go on these websites where they'd just give you credit for like on credit for like any purchase that you wanted, and it'll just stack up racks and racks of random debt, of like consumer debt, of this like like on a random website like very.com or some bullshit, and it's like 30% APR. She wasn't the type of girl to like read the terms and conditions. She just like heard, oh yeah, you can just get it for free right now. And she was literally in like debt next to me, right? And I always found that weird, and it never occurred to me, because it's just like, if I don't have like, is this weird to say, bro? If I don't have the money for something in my bank account, then I can't buy it. I've just never considered anything else. Even with property, like I was saying it to my sister, like even the idea of a mortgage felt weird to me. I was like saying it to her as well. So yes, I'll probably have to save up like 250k then for the first like rental property that we get for investments. She looks at me weird. It's like, no, you just put like a 10 to 20% down payment. I'm like, what does that mean? She's like, oh, you only need 50k. I'm like, but how? It's like, because of a mortgage. And I'm like, it just hit me. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, but why would I even do that? It's like, I'll just wait. Like, I'll just wait till I can actually afford the thing. Like, why would you set up your future self to pay for you today? So my father gave me this lesson: never get into debt, because he had got into debt for our family. And that meant that he needed to work very long, like hours and jobs that he didn't like, to be able to pay like the monthly like bills of being like a sole earner for the family.